Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. Our next guest is Angel Barna. Angel works for Venture Life and Health. She's a local health insurance broker specializing in company-sponsored health plans and individual Medicare plans. Is your business missing out on growth in a great economy because you're not able to hire and retain top talent? Venture Life and Health Insurance has been protecting local friends and neighbors and businesses against the inevitable bumps and bruises of life since 2006. Perhaps they can help you retain your talent. Welcome to the show, Angel.
Hi, thank you.
Welcome, Angel. Hey, as we get started here, tell us a bit about you and your hobbies and interests.
My hobbies and interests. Well, I have 2 kids, so that keeps me pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
With the extra time I have available, typically I like to go out to Westport and see my parents. So
Also, she became a rugby fan recently.
Seawolves, go Seawolves.
Go Seawolves.
Discovered rugby, so love it.
Clearing brambles out in Westport, is that what we hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of yard work.
Tell us about the growing up in the home that you grew up in and what fond memories you have from that.
Yeah, for us, yard work is actually probably our funniest, best times as a family, even still, with my parents' new place. I just remember my dad falling off a ladder trying to trim the apple tree.
That's hilarious.
Unfortunately, it was hilarious, and so just all these moments. The house I grew up in was a wreck in the backyard. The grass was as tall as me, and it was just a labor of love, but it was always a good time, and it was always fun, and
I'll never remember. That's funny. I'll never forget one Christmas. We went out and we cut Christmas trees, you cut, and there was this one just standing alone by itself. We're like, hey, that's great, right? So we cut it down, brought it back in, and, my kids are around. I think they're about 7, maybe 8 years old, and I'm bringing the tree in, and I'm setting it up, and my wife goes, there's a bee's nest in there. And the whole family freaks out. I'm like, I'm running out the house with this thing. So I picture you watching your dad laugh. And every time my family, we go, as we're bringing in our Christmas tree, we're like, remember when? That's what I love about the homes. There are so many memories that are just right around that spot. So thank you for sharing yours about your father falling. That's great.
We hope he was okay.
He's fine.
Maybe is that what got you into the health insurance?
Maybe it was implanted very young.
Yeah. So what's the top problem you solve?
Top problem I solve for companies is attracting and retaining quality employees. What we see in this market is that our unemployment rate is really low, and this is an area filled with top talent. So to bring on these qualified employees, healthcare is a must at minimum. And so that's usually the top concern when somebody calls me. They're trying so hard to hire someone, and either they don't have a healthcare plan in place or they need a better plan.
Okay, so size of companies, because I think that's the niche that you kind of fill, is the Microsofts, the Boeings, right? These are giant accounts. Not that you wouldn't turn away that account, but the niche that you serve are some of these medium-sized businesses, right?
Yes, medium-sized businesses. So small group is defined by under 51 employees. So a good market for me is a company that has fewer than 100 employees.
Okay. And then how exactly do you solve that problem with healthcare?
So healthcare is kind of complex, and there's a lot of options out there. It can be overwhelming. I work with 5 of the top carriers here in Washington. I also have over 17 different trusts and associations. Every industry has a different kind of niche and a different kind of need. I think what's great about our group is that we cover so many different kinds of companies and businesses. We're really able to let you know what everyone else is doing, what we see as the norm, and what other businesses like theirs are picking up in terms of benefits.
So Dan and I are independent contractors, so we would be considered individuals, or do you help individuals?
I unfortunately do not do individuals. Okay. I have an amazing professional that I do refer to. He's great. So
yeah, it's a very different market, individual. It's horrible, but different.
What's a growing trend you see in the benefits market?
Ancillary benefits. So what you'll notice is that some of these larger companies have offered such a huge selection of different kinds of benefits. So employees are not just looking for health care. They're also looking for paycheck insurance. They want short and long-term disability. They want life insurance. They want 401ks. They want things like prepaid legal. I've even seen pet insurance. So,
Really?
yeah, just these different options available, whether they're company paid or they're voluntary, really beef up a company's overall benefits offering.
Is there anything that sticks out as like I heard you say paycheck insurance? That sounds like disability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is there any one specific where recently were you proud of this package you put together that helped a company attract talent?
Yeah, so I've been working with quite a few startup tech companies, and the big thing is disability for high-income earners, and it can be done on a group level, which is very affordable, but it takes a couple different carriers to accomplish covering up to 60% of somebody's income. And so that's
Just splitting the risk up.
Yep. Just breaking it up across a couple different carriers.
So how do you solve the rising cost of healthcare?
The rising cost of healthcare is something that every company and individual is facing right now. There's a lot of great options available. There's some HSAs that are available that are going to help lower some of those costs. The carriers all have different niches. Every year, the carriers' rates change, the networks change. I think it's just the variety that I can offer and the knowledge that I bring to the table about each carrier's niche is really the value there.
So can we talk about the elephant in the room? Do you think it's going to change in the future?
I do think it's going to change in the future. Yeah.
Care to expound on that question? It's a talk radio show.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
Yes. I do think there's changes in the small group market ahead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For the individual market, I mean, there's talk. Nothing's finalized. There's things that are getting voted on here in Washington State. Will it go? Will it not go? Does it get implemented? That I can't for certain say. But I will say that, yes, changes are definitely coming.
So what do you think the overall positive effects of having health benefits are to a business? You mentioned like recruiting, but is there things you think of beyond that?
Yeah, recruiting and retention. I was actually just looking at a small business survey. 78% of small business owners said that having a health insurance plan in place increased loyalty and it decreased turnover, which we see as well. 75% it helped with employee recruitment. 64% said it increased productivity by keeping employees healthy. Those are just a few of the positive, impactful pieces that having a good health insurance plan brings to the table.
But I think that a lot of times people are apprehensive, breadwinners, right, are apprehensive to maybe go out and explore nature, do sports and stuff like that, weekend warrior kind of stuff, because their job depends on them being healthy. And if there is no safety net for them, their quality of life goes down. Because let's face it, I love to go out and play. And if I'm like, geez, if I break my leg and I'm out of work, then the whole thing comes apart, falls apart. With regards to, this is one that kind of maybe I'm looking at a little bit more open-eyed as a person with high blood pressure, but do the healthcare kind of safety net protect against heart attack or let's say some kind of major disability? The products that you sell, do they protect people from that?
It's a combination of products. So your health insurance plan is going to obviously help cover some of those medical and hospital bills. The second piece of that is, let's say you had a heart attack and you weren't able to work. Well, that's where that short and long-term disability comes in. If you're temporarily out of work, how long can you go without a paycheck?
Right. That's that paycheck insurance.
That's that paycheck insurance. So it's a combination of products that are really going to help get your employees and yourself through those times.
So what's the biggest challenge for business owners in terms of actually getting this plan put in place?
I think it's confusing. It's overwhelming. A lot of people are not knowledgeable. I work in the small group market, so for a lot of the groups that I work with and I set up, they don't necessarily have a dedicated HR person that is knowledgeable on these things. They're not quite sure where to go, and the big piece of it, they don't know what it's going to cost, right? So for a lot of my new groups that I bring on, the big issue is, what is it going to cost me? How much of this cost can I share with my employees? And what's available. They just don't know. So that whole piece of it is overwhelming in itself, and then how to roll it out and implement it. That's the second wave that a lot of small business owners, it's overwhelming for them.
So how do you help with that?
We make it super simple and easy, very easy. We've streamlined the process. We do a brief client intake interview that's really going to help us figure out which carrier is going to be the best fit for cost, size, employer contribution. And then we look at your options. We slim everything down for you. We've made the enrollment process very quick and easy as well.
So tell us a success story.
A success story. Well, I recently just wrote a plumbing company. And this was 2 years in the works, but it kind of comes down to a few things. You know, do the employees want it? What's the need? And you know, cost. How do we get it together? The success story is that it's going to lower those L&I claims, because that was the big problem that we had. You know, if you come into work and you're limping in because you got hurt over the weekend, you don't have any health insurance.
You might file an L&I.
You might file an L&I claim for a couple reasons. You can't afford to be off of work, and you can't afford the bill that it's going to cost to fix what went wrong. So,
what's the size of this plumbing company? How many people?
15.
15. Okay, so it's kind of a small business. I mean,
Right.
I put that as a small business, and you think about that comes back to the productivity. It comes back to the quality of workmanship that you're getting. Plumbing, I can only imagine. I had a plumber over. He had to go in my crawl space. That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, going in crawl spaces suck, right? And you can tweak
That's
things.
why they
and-
get the big bucks.
Yeah. So that's really great. That's a great success story. Thank you. So let's see. Any other area or niche that you specialize in?
I also do Medicare planning. This is kind of near and dear to my heart. The Medicare market is very overwhelming. There's 96 plans in King County alone. I work with 10 of the top carriers here, and I love it. It's a great market to work in, and my clients are all super grateful. So I really
Okay, I'm kind
enjoy
of naive about that because I'm a youngster, right? Right, Katie? I'm a youngster. So how does Medicare work? Don't you just get a card and you're good to go?
Yep.
Like when you turn a certain age?
Yep. So you get a card. It's an 80-20 plan.
So what do I need you for?
Well, that 20% is uncapped and it's unlimited.
Ouch.
So, yeah, the sky's the limit on that 20% that you'll pay. Yeah. So the answer to that is private companies.
So supplemental plans.
Supplemental plans, advantage plans will fill in some or all of that 20%.
Why are there so many companies?
It's a very competitive market. These plans are great. The government basically asked the private insurers to come in and help out, and they answered the call, and it's been successful.
So is it like different flavors of ice cream? I mean, what's it depend on? Why so many? I mean, if you just have one size covers all, right?
Well, there's different options, and I think that, you know, having a lot of different carriers in our market, because we're in this particular area, we're incredibly blessed to have huge networks. We've got the top carriers, and they all offer different things. You know, a lot of these plans will offer gym memberships. They've got vision built into them. Some of them this year have acupuncture
Did you say gym
available.
memberships?
Gym memberships, yep.
Oh, great idea.
So, yeah, just
Keep their clients alive longer.
Yeah.
so
In a good way.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, there you
win-win.
go. It's right.
It's a win-win.
That's good.
All right. So how can folks find out how can they get a hold
How
of
do
you?
they reach you?
best way to reach me is the office. Just picking up the phone, 206-535-7084.
Say that again. Slower.
206-535-7084.
And I think you do have a website.
We do.
don't
It's
remember
under
what it is.
construction right now.
Okay, so don't go there.
Don't go
Just
there.
call Angel.
Just call.
Just call Angel.
Angel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
You're listening to Real Talk. I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan.
It's 1150 KKMW. After the break, we have some more Real Talk. And I'm going to drop a little wisdom with a final thought. We'll be right back.